to the Rally in the Valley.
Hey, Mikey here. Welcome to Rally in the Valley, the series where I take rally-tuned cars down my custom rally stage in Forza Horizon 5 to see which car reigns supreme in its PI class. Today we have a high-powered group of vehicles in the second group in A class taken to the course, going over a bumpy and technical 4.2-mile course to determine who is the champion of A-class rally. The rules are simple. There will be 2 chances to put down a clean time. If you miss a checkpoint and can't make it back before the reset, the run is restarted. If it happens again, that's a DQ. And before we get started, just a quick look at our standings. After our first group, the 1963 VW Beatle with the taxi livery sits in first, closely followed by the 2017 Ford Focus. Does anybody have anything for the Beatle, or are vehicles going to have run closer to the DeBerti pre-runner? Only time will tell. First up today is the 2017 Ford F-150 Raptor. This is one of the more powerful trucks in the field at 1,070 horsepower. It's also built a little bit differently. It is a cross-country tune, but it's a 10-speed where most vehicles in the field are 7-speed. And you can just feel the power as it gets off the line into the turns. It just wants to get up and go. But the thing is, with it being a cross-country build, it is built more for wide open spaces. And it really wasn't getting along with the tarmac section. It wasn't the worst that I've ever felt. But it also really wasn't getting along. It also kind of wanted to sway and just kind of bob around, and it really didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel at home as we get into the valley onto the dirt. And the dirt really wasn't too much better at times, though it was a little bit better than the tarmac section. As you can see, we're picking up speed going down by the rocks, and it's just hard to get the truck wound up and able to turn. It didn't really want to turn as much in the tight path. And coming down to the left-hand turn, you can see again just having to lock it up in order to get it slowed down enough to get it around the corner. Going into under the googly eyes, almost oversteered it into the inside trees on the turn. And this is where we really hit some problems again, is just really having a hard time getting control of it. And even though I didn't get the run stopped due to not getting back for the checkpoint, I still had to redo this run over again as I started picking up too much debris and kind of lost where I was. So again, getting off the starting line, going into the first turn, this time I backed it down a little bit, hoping to at least be able to keep it going. And this run felt a little bit better. It was, like I said, a little bit backed down. But yeah, the Big Gold, as this truck is known as, is a cross-country monster that really hasn't been used too much on dirt. And you can just feel that it's more at home where you can just put it all down, let it go, just let it stretch its legs as you see it getting up into 8th gear. Heading down towards the turn again to start exiting the valley. Again, just letting up some helped. But I really found that this line on the grass really also kind of helped, widening up the line more than I really ideally would. Really did help with Big Gold. But again, it's areas like this, as you can see, I'm going behind the trees because it's just wants to just be all over it. It's used to having space to make these turns, and this time I took this turn a lot slower so that way we can get onto the tarmac section and get under the dragon to head onto the gravel. As we head onto the gravel, we still have the same issues, and you can really tell the bumpiness of some areas of the course and the change in elevations and just the little hills as the truck does start bouncing a bit more than would be ideal. Especially coming up to this checkpoint, it felt like I got a little bit of air just a couple seconds before the checkpoint, So going down the gravel section really didn't feel great. Again, just putting the wheels on the grass did help some. Though again, that's also not really an ideal line, widening out as much as I had to. If this was a cross-country challenge, Big Gold definitely would be in the running for the lead, but with it being, especially in areas around the checkpoints, and the checkpoints itself being a little bit tighter, Big Gold just really wasn't very comfortable to drive. So as we head down through the last section, heading towards the hairpin, this is probably the most composed Big Gold has felt on this course, again, out of its element, so really shouldn't be surprised. As we get through the hairpin, head towards the water, this is one of the vehicles that was actually easier to handle through the water and cross the line. So Big Gold did get a clean run in at 302.034, and that's going to put it in 5th. Again, just ahead of the DeBerti pre-runner, which had a DNF. And up next today is the 2011 Volkswagen Scirocco R, a car that was so good in B class that I made an A class version of it in order to use, and it really has not disappointed any time I've brought it out. And it is one of the smaller cars in the group today. So it is one of the lower powered, but it definitely gets off the line very well. And it feels very balanced and really has probably some of the least amount of grip loss as we watch it slide through those corners. But for the most part, it has a lot less grip loss than most of the cars in the class do on the off-road race tires. As we head into the valley, again, just lost a little bit of grip there, but nothing serious, very easy to collect. The Scirocco was very well behaved, very tame, was not affected very much by any of the bumpy areas. As we head through the rock formation and out the other end of the valley, just kind of took a flat line, which makes that checkpoint there very difficult to get through. But I did get it back online in where I needed to go as we head towards the left-hand turn exiting the valley. Again, very easy. This car was one of the few that was very good at handling that left turn, which is usually very tricky for some based on the position of the checkpoint. And again, as we head towards the first tarmac section, the car is just feeling like it is gripping where it needs to. It didn't have really any issues with the bumps that some of the lighter weight vehicles do, and on the tarmac sections it really didn't have the difficulties that the off-road race tires have, and I just drove it in a little aggressively there. But again, very easy to get back recovered and back going the way I wanted it to go. As we head by the construction pileup and just down the path, down the last section of the gravel path, just went a little bit offline, but the Scirocco was not bothered by catching the grass as we head towards the last left-hand turn on the tarmac section. And again, it just maybe a little bit aggressive braking, but the Scirocco again held itself together very well. Heading down the dirt path to head towards the hairpin and the final turn, it's just again the Scirocco feeling very good, not bouncing around, not being affected by the bumps very much, which is a problem that some of the lighter cars do have. So it was a very pleasant drive with the Scirocco, and hitting that checkpoint by maybe a pixel or two was very helpful. As we come to the finish line, cross it, and the run was 3 minutes even 0.832 seconds, which puts it third, meaning the Scirocco has the bottom step on the podium, but with 6 cars to go, can it hold it? And up next, we have the 2019 Lamborghini Urus, one of the few SUVs in the field. And even though it kind of can cross over between rally and cross country, it really probably is better suited for cross country, though it capable against similar vehicles. So with that in mind, I decided to give it a shot and see what it could do in this competition. As you can see early, it was a little bit sliding around on the tarmac sections. Had to brake a little bit earlier than ideal, but it could be smoother than other comparable, and in this case comparable would be more along the pickup truck lines. As they're across all classes, we really haven't had much in the way of SUVs take to the course yet, though we will be having some in the near future. But as you can see, going along the dirt path, it does feel more capable, but its first real test with that right-hand turn there, it just really wanted room to be able to throw itself around the corner instead of sticking more to the path, and with its size, it can kind of make up for it, making its way back through the brush and the weeds on the side. But it also, what helps is, as you can see, it didn't really get knocked off course by that jump there. But it really does feel like the Urus wants to have some room to stretch its legs a little bit. It kind of feels like along the same lines as Big Golf was, except a little more under control, a little more smooth. But as you can see, again, just kind of throwing it through the turn there, it didn't really go through. It would have made it fine on a cross-country turn, but when you're trying to get inside the trees instead of outside the trees, it was just a little bit rough. As we head down by the construction wreck and next to the video board and through this checkpoint, again, it's just, you can tell it has some sort of capability in rally. It's just not its number one strong spot. As we get back onto the tarmac section, again, now I'm just trying to hold on to it, and you can see, again, just doesn't grip on the tarmac. It really did feel a lot better on the off-road surfaces. As we head into the final corner and almost get caught up in the anti-cheat, the launch pad there in the corner. As we head down through the final dirt section, heading towards the hairpin. Felt good, felt unfazed by the bumps in this section. And even here, it was okay because, again, it was just slowing down. It wasn't needing room to roam. It wasn't wanting the room to roam to get around the hairpin. But here, where you could take a little bit of speed in the turn, it wanted to kind of break free. And it crosses the line at 3 minutes 2.100. That's going to put it 7th out of 8, just ahead of the DeBerti, which did not get its own time. And up next, we have the 2015 Dodge Charger SRT Hellcat. And to be fully honest, I'm not really sure where this car came from, though with the fact it's tuned, it looks like it might have been a PR stunt, so we'll see if a PR stunt car can do something on this course. Getting off to the start, you can see it's really understeering, and I crash into part of the anti-cheat launch pad that's raised, which then causes a problem as I, again, hit it, then run over it and launch myself high up in the air. First instance in this event of a car being fully affected by an anti-cheat device. So, as we get back on track, again, we're dealing with understeer and lack of grip, and one of the things that should have tuned me in that this was not specifically tuned for racing, but maybe a PR stunt, is the fact that instead of having off-road race tires, this car actually has rally tires and is rear-wheel drive. So really not the mark of something that's going to be racing a lot from my garage. I do have a few rally rear-wheel drive cars, but I cannot recall any of them that are in A or S, either of the S classes. I do have one or two in B class, I have a couple in C class, but this is a totally different monster, and as you can see, the Charger is just all over the place. It does pretty well in a straight line. It likes to go in a straight line. Either that or it likes to lose the back end, so it was very difficult to hold on to. as we finally get over to the trees and just bounce right off of one of them, at least catching it on the side to be able to push us back into the middle of the path. But as we get back to the tarmac section, it's obvious that this car really is a PR specialty and not something that's going to go out and actually compete in races without a lot of work. As in, there is no aero on this car. I don't even think the suspension is rally suspension. I don't think it has any kind of off-road suspension. So I think it's stock suspension, stock aero, rear-wheel drive. Possibly the only upgrades really are the transmission, the rally tires, and that could be it. So as we get through the second gravel section onto the last of the tarmac sections, it really has been a struggle to hold on to the Charger. Though it handles some of the tarmac sections better than some of the off-road race tire equipped cars. But again, with the rally tires offering more grip, that does make sense. But it definitely sacrifices a lot in the off-road sections and is very much the handful. Though it does seem a little composed in this section until I brake in late and almost send it around. But yeah, this Charger was just a handful. Trying to do anything I can to find anything that's as smooth as possible before finally crossing the line almost sideways at a 3-minute 33.198 seconds. That's going to be the worst of any car that's put down a time, making it currently 8th, but it's hard to see anything finishing worse than this. And next up to run is the 1983 Audi Sport Quattro. This car will definitely be much more capable than the Dodge Charger, but with its roots being in Group B Rally, it is definitely more than capable of being a car to beat in this competition. And off the bat, it really does show that it is more stable than a lot of the cars on the tarmac section, even with the off-road race tires. But it is handling the tarmac section very well, less sliding than almost any vehicle that has come before it. As it's making its way quickly through the tarmac section, very little in terms of being offline, anything. It was just handling beautifully. And as you get onto the dirt section, you can see it is just handling everything nicely. Going almost full speed through that rock formation, as there is a tricky little hop there that can get you a little out of sorts if you do not hit that right. But the Audi made it through the valley section very nicely, very quickly, heading down to the hard left turn, and one of the best cars to go through that turn. As we head towards the trees again, just being able to get it to properly navigate that jump that could send it into the trees was very important. And again, a nice transition onto the tarmac section, heading towards the Dragon in the second tarmac section. And again, just very smooth. I mean, there isn't much you can say about this car other than it handled everything well. It had good pickup and go. Even here where it's sliding a bit, it's mostly easy to recover. I slightly over-recovered, but still, it was very easy to recover. Good enough straight line speed that it made up time. Good enough through the corners. I mean, it's really all around a good car. Very hugging the trail, even in the bumpy sections. As we're back on the final tarmac section, through the left-hand turn where you would see a lot of cars just fly out into the grass section. It did try to skid out a little bit, but not enough to affect anything. So basically this Audi was a really good all-around car as it's heading down the last dirt section towards the hairpin. got back down very quickly. Got a little shaken from hitting that jump maybe a little long, but recovered very nicely so that it could have a good line and good speed through the hairpin. As we come up to the puddle is one area where time could be gained or lost, but even as small as this car is, it didn't really lose anything in the puddle, and it comes across the line in 257.963, which will be first by half a second, taking the lead from the Taxi Beetle. But with 2 cars left, will it stay there, or is it going to drop a couple spots? And up next, we have another B-Class grow up to A-Class in the 1982 Lancia 037, and it is hoping to do one spot better than its B-Class brother, which currently sits in second. This car is perfectly designed for this type of competition, as it is part of the Group B Rally Legacy. It has that in its pedigree. And off the start on the asphalt tarmac section of the course, you can see it's actually holding itself together a lot better than most of the cars that have gone do. And going into the valley section, as we hit the path, you can see, again, very composed despite being very lightweight. Low power, but a good power to weight ratio. And this car really knows how to use what power it puts down. As you can see, it's very slidable when it needs to be slidable, as it gets a little sideways in the corner, but it stays controllable. It doesn't get itself out of sorts. Headed down towards the left-hand turn and just scraped maybe a few pixels of that checkpoint, but got enough of it to be able to continue on. And even hitting that tree is really not helpful, but again, it's just able to recover very well. Headed back onto the next tarmac section, got a little bit of understeer going into the grass a little bit, but recovered back. As we head onto the gravel section, first gravel section, through the trees, and again, it's got a lot of power, can put it down, gets around very well. A little bit outside the line there, but not too badly. Was able to recover, get it back in under control and shape. As we go by the construction wreck and through by the video board. And again, it's just able to handle anything you're basically throwing at it, even if it goes way off track. It's very easy to catch and recover. It doesn't take much special effort to get it back under control. As we head into the left-hand turn, going towards the last dirt section, I mean, this car has just been, even when it's gotten loose or out of control, or I've lost control of it or anything, it's been very easy to recover. And it's felt really good during this run. As we head down towards the last section before the hairpin and the water. The water is where this car could really struggle. Being lower power and less weight could make it very difficult to make it through the water. But going through the water, it had enough to get through solidly and comes across the line after getting a little wide, but comes across the line and puts down a 2-minute 55.928 second run, meaning that the Lancia is going to catapult itself to first over the Audi Sport Quattro with one car left to go today. And last up for today, we have a 2008 Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10 GSR, a kind of a cousin to Rally Lancer, as this is the Forza Horizon Welcome Pack version, and not the standard version. So it is kind of a cousin, not directly related, and as well as I tried to tune it to make it its A-Class version of its cousin, it doesn't have the same feel to it. It is a little bit less steady on the roads. As you can see, it almost went around trying to do that quick 2 turns. But as we head towards the valley, the hope is that it will do better on the dirt, as a lot of cars do struggle with the off-road race tires on tarmac. So as the Lancer is going through the valley, it is mostly composed. There are a couple areas that just maybe needs a few tweaks in order to help it, but it gets a little bit of an understeer into a snap oversteer moment there. But headed out of the valley, the car overall feels like it's a solid car. Like I said, not quite its cousin, the original Rally Lancer, but it is solid enough that it is a good car. That didn't help that it didn't quite react to the steering inputs to get around the bush. The bush slows down a little bit, but it's able to recover pretty well from anything that slows it down. It is able to get back up to speed, so might hurt a tiny bit on time, but it's not as bad as maybe going through a brick wall like here could be. But again, it composed itself in time. It caught itself in the slide like it's the original Rally Lancer. As we head next to the construction wreck, and the Lancer did again feel pretty good. It was mostly composed. There were a few areas where it just didn't quite feel right, just like that off into the grass, but it was able to get back righted and composed. So as we head down towards the turnoff for the last dirt section, you see it's struggling in the same place a lot of vehicles actually struggle on that left-hand sweeper. That's maybe not as fast as it appears to be. So as it goes down to towards the end, down towards the hairpin, got a little bit off course there, but was quickly able to correct. Gets through, maybe a little bit of a tight line going into the hairpin section, and gets a little bit understeer in the hairpin as it hits the apex very deep, gets through the water. Again, not bad through the water, and that water section can hurt a lot of cars, but it didn't hurt the Lancer. As it comes across the line, 258.597, that'll put it just off the podium in fourth, but it'll be the third car of the day in the top four. So this was a very impressive group. So day two brings a big shakeup in the leaderboard as three of the bottom four in the standings come from day two, but also three of the top four, including the new leader and second place car, are from day two. So join me again in a few weeks as the third of four groups in A-Class go. But join me again in the next video as S-Class, S1 class, will get its second group, and it will be a little bit of an interesting assortment of vehicles. So, until next time, have a good one, and I will see you later.